For today's tutorial, we're on a fact-finding mission. I'm going to be working on this beautiful glass cabinet and we're going to be doing reverse glass decoupage. Now, I make that sound like I know what I'm doing. This is all trial and error. I'm just going to take you along for the journey. So let's take a look at the actual piece of furniture. So I've just recently picked this cabinet up. It was £5 from a local charity shop. And as you can see, it's in a bad state of repair. I think it's had lots of things happen to it over its life. It's most definitely missing a corner cupboard at the bottom. We get a lot of this type of furniture in the UK. Although it looks like an antique, it's not. It just appears to be. It is modern reproduction, but it is a good one. It has lovely curved glass to the front, but there is quite a lot of damage to the wood and the veneer. So I'm gonna change this into something that I feel looks more like a chinoiserie piece of furniture. As you can see, I'm doing some prep work on this piece today. That's because I'll be using Annie Sloan's satin paint. I've sanded the whole area of the piece of furniture, and then I'm using grime cutter to eat away any greasy residue, especially on the glass, ready for our decoupage. So first up, I am placing my paper down to kind of get a feel for where this might sit, and it fits absolutely perfect lengthwise, absolutely perfect, stunning. And then I'll know where to cut on the other side, which I might not cut until afterwards. But what I have to do with this paper, it's rice paper, and with this brand, there's a leading edge. So normally, when working on a piece of furniture, I would fray the edge by using water, but in this case, it's a nice straight line to work up to. It rebates on the outside, so even if I get a wobbly line, it's not going to be seen. So I'm just going to take off the leading edge, top, bottom, and this side, because I'm losing that side of the image, and then we'll worry about the second half of the image a little later. First up, as I said before, make sure that the glass is completely free of dust, streaks, everything. Make sure it's super clean, because once this paper is down, it's always going to show. Also, I'm working sideways on this cabinet because there's a convex contour to this glass. I'm going to work from one side to the other so I can go through the curve and up. I've also labelled the top of my cupboard door so that I know that I'm getting the right way up. As you can see underneath here, I've got some cloth that I've rolled up, so I've got a nice firm base, so I'm not going to crack my glass as I'm working. The things that I'm going to be using is Posh Chalk Infuser. This is it's really liquid. It's a wonderful glue to apply the decoupage paper, especially this paper, because it's rice paper, it's permeable, it will soak right the way through, and it's non-yellowing, so that's really cool. I've also got Posh Chalk brushes, one to apply the infuser and another one to spread. So I'm going to work from one side to the other with the paper. I've lined everything up. Here's the image, and we're going to go. The image is close up to this side, so that's, I've left the dead space more to that side, so we're going to start with that side and line up the top and this leading edge and smooth down across and up and over, and then we'll worry about taking the paper off a little after that. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got my external part of the glass cabinet facing down. We are now working on the inside of the cabinet, which means the decoupage paper has to be print side down. So I've applied a generous amount of infuser along one section at the top, and I'm smoothing into place with my large brush. Then I'm going to peel back the decoupage paper and apply more of the infuser across the whole surface, which allows me to go from the center and work my paper out wrinkle free. I have to say, I think rice paper is one of my favorite mediums for decoupage. It is the most simple one to lay down. As you can see here, I'm taking my large smoothing out brush, working from the center, pushing everything out. Literally not one air bubble or crease in the whole piece. You will also see the paper is going kind of translucent at this point. We're going to add more infuser over the top to infuse from top to bottom, and it will consolidate the whole piece of paper. So I've left the top coat of infuser a good couple of hours to dry. I've just gone and had my lunch, and it's really lovely. You can see it's kind of translucent. The flecks are fibres which add strength to this rice paper. They are awesome. The only thing is, I would always advise a white background to this. So we are going to give this surface a couple of coats of white so the colours come true on the other side. So I'm just going to take my blade, and we're going to go in, slightly wet in the crevices, but I'm just going to go down gently just to make a score line along the edge, and we'll just tidy all the edges up. See if we can get, peel that off. Make a real neat job of it. Down this one edge. Clean my blade. Shouldn't need to apply too much pressure. if you get any lift, you can go back with infuser. Pretty good. Well, that made easy work of that. So I'm going to show you the other side and you'll see just how it will look. It kind of is very translucent. There you go. It's pretty good. You can see light passing through. So what we're going to do now is hit it with a couple of coats of white chalk paint for ease. I'm going to use probably pure for the first coat, maybe old white for the second coat to build up that depth of background. Like I said, all decoupage papers, whether you're doing it this way or the other way, do really work better with a white background. So let's get some white chalk paint on this surface. Okay, so that is the second coat of pure on the back of the decoupage paper, and I've had a little sneak peek and it's turned out absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to move on next to painting the internal part of the cabinet and the external. I am also going to paint over this pure chalk paint with the external colour, which is going to be Annie Sloan Athenian Black. And I've decided to go with an internal pop of colour. Well, I say colour, it's a neutral. I'm going to go with Annie Sloan Canvas, which is really beautiful. But let's take a look at how this has turned out. There you go. Look at the shine. It's absolutely stunning. So what you need to do is make sure that your two coats of white paint stop any light passing through. You then won't see the little fibres in the rice paper, and it just comes out so clear and beautiful. So there we go. I'm going to pop this safely to one side and then we'll concentrate on the outside of the cabinet.
Preparing for my first layer of Athenian black, I am using masking tape to cover off all of the areas that I don't wish to get paint on, including the hinges and the key escutcheon. I've made sure that my 2 coats of Annie Sloan Pure Chalk Paint are thoroughly dry before I'm hitting it with the Athenian Black Satin Paint just to match in with the front of the cabinet.
So whilst I'm waiting for the canvas and the Athenian black on the inside of the cupboard door to dry, I'm going to tackle this detailed area, and how I'm going to do that is with a small detailed brush. I have been using a really small brush, and this is more like an artist brush. It's kind of softer in bristle. Because I'm not doing such a large area, I am just focusing on small sections. I find that these brushes really laid the paint down really lovely. So we're going to start with applying into the little crevices, all of these little grooves. I'm just tapping in, and then I'll go over with a slightly bigger brush. Especially when there's detail like this, you really do need to kind of make sure that that paint goes into each little groove. I'm just wiggling the brush, making sure not to leave any wooden areas. And then I'm going to take the big brush and then we'll just go over the top. And you should be set for a really nice finish. Annie Sloan's satin paint is self-leveling, so it really does go on nice. If you get a really fine brush, it really does lay on so beautifully. Also, it's quick drying, so you're set for a second coat pretty quick. As well, I'm making sure that I'm not overloading the paint on the connections around the edges, because I want my doors to close nice and freely again once it's been painted. So thin coats, give it a couple of coats rather than one thick coat. So that's just about it for the paintwork. I'm super happy with how this has turned out. All that's left to do now is marry the door back to the cabinet. Now, I'm expecting to get 1 or 2 chips just around the bottom while I'm hanging this. I'm on my own, so if you guys have removed your cabinet, it does help to have 2 people around, but Mr. M is somewhere at the back of the garden, so I'm not gonna call him. I'm just gonna fumble around and get this on. I have got the paint still open, so if I do get 1 or 2 chips, then I'll fix them. Remember, satin paint does need a long curing time. I would say about 20 to 30 days, full curing time. So don't be putting hot drinks or mugs straight onto the surface. Use a coaster for a little while and then the paint will harden and it will be good for a very long time. So let's get the door on. We can have that wonderful big reveal and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will look wonderful underneath. Gently remove that. Oh, that's lovely. Yes, look guys, you can just see that on camera. It's got the gold right back. So are we ready? Let's see. Fingers crossed, guys. We'll lose, hopefully. So far so good. That looks awesome. Right, let's really see what it looks like without the masking tape on there. May have to tidy up some edges. No, that looks pretty good. Oh, just glides off. Glides off. Start from the bottom up. If you can hear water, that's Mr. M in the garden. He's sprinkling the garden, so that's why you can hear water. We've just also had a medical helicopter just fly over as well, so that may come back. A little bit there. Oh no, no, it's good. It's really, really good. Seamless. Go from the bottom up. So I'm really happy with the end results, but there's just something missing. And I've stood away from this for quite a while and thought, what does this need? It just needs a little bit more extra. I could put a would you bend over on the top, but I don't feel like that's right. And then I thought, wow, Jonathan, this is the time to use a product that I was gifted and never got a chance to, and never found the right project, to be fair. And it's a UK-based company called Polyonlay. So it is a bendable onlay. This is how they come. This is the company name. Now, I'm aware that they have stockists and distributors in the EU. I think they are stretching out to Canada and other places, but check out their website, Polyonlay. I'm going to show you the options that I've got here. I've got one or two options. This is one of them, which I think is the one that I'm going to go for. Now, let me show you this. It is wafer thin. You can use these for craft projects. You can use them for furniture. All it takes is a little bit of glue and a bit of paint, and it can transform something. So I'm thinking that I'm going to add these up onto the glass to add that really extra chinoiserie feel to this cabinet. So I'm going to pop two of these up in the top corners, but paint them black so it's like fretwork and it's just poking out. I've also got this one, which is a simpler pattern, which I might just pop down in the bottom corner of the cabinet. So I'm going to paint them first, and then I'm going to lay them on top and see how that looks.
I did use the two smaller Polyonlays in the bottom half of the cabinet, which I did off camera just to get a little bit of a feel of how the application would be on the surface of the glass. One or two things that I would say is once you apply your glue to the back surface of the glass, remove with a damp cloth on the front, which will help with the overspill onto the glass. And also I'm using a gentle bit of heat, which helps the tight bond go off much quicker. The few areas that did have a little bit of lift up, I went back in with my brush, cleaned off the top surface, and another bit of gentle heat. The actual Polyonlays do not react to heat like a wood you bend. They are very flexible without adding any heat to them, as they are so super thin. The final one went on like an absolute dream. I suppose it's like anything, practice makes perfect, and I'm really happy with the choice that I went with. These are super, super gorgeous.
So that's all 4 Polyonlays in place, and I can honestly say I think each one of them went on very different to the next one. I suppose I was just learning on the job with you guys. A couple of things that I would say about applying these to glass. I can't comment about wood because I've not done it on wood yet, but I will do. I promise I'll bring that to another tutorial. A couple of things. The last Polyonlay went on the best, and I think that was because I didn't spread the glue across the onlay, because I think what was happening, the glue was kind of sticking to the edges, the sharp edges. So go in with a stipple motion like you were going to stencil the backside of the onlay, and it adds just the right amount of glue, peaks and troughs. It just seems to sit so much better on the glass surface. The overspill was far less. Don't worry about the overspill. I was trying to clean it off with water and all sorts. It just gets really messy. Just heat them up, leave them to dry, and go in with a blunt screwdriver and just scrape away off the glass whilst it's kind of semi-wet, semi-dry. Just kind of scrape it away and you'll get wonderful results. I'm super happy with these. So guys, that's just about it. It's really dark outside. This has been a long day for me. I will catch you all on the next tutorial. If you're new here and this is the first time you've ever seen me work and you've enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, hit me with a thumbs up, help the algorithms, and I will catch you all next time. Take care.